WooooooHooooo! Welcome, beautiful believers and co-creators. This is episode 13 of Angel's Authentic Action Podcast, and I'm Angel. It's also the first episode of season 2, which is exciting for me. My mission here is to inspire and encourage you to design and live a life that you love. I'm not going to tell you much more about this show. If you want to know what it's about, you're just going to have to stick around and listen for yourself. I will tell you that today's guest is something of a legend in the land of live music show production. He is a long-time avid music fan and event producer, former president of Big River Corporation, and currently still keeps his fingers in the game here and there with Chuck Deleonardis Presents. And he also dabbles in the Hawaiian real estate market. I'm happy to call him a friend and thrilled to share this conversation with you. And so, without further ado, I present Chucky D.
That's the funny thing. We had social media way before there was social media. Okay? Now, and we were the best at social media because we had the best network. We had guys taping shows. You turn around and there's, 30 people with towers with microphones on them. And the band's like, yeah, that's great. And then some people are getting boards and stuff. So we have this network in the 70s and 80s. And it operated on the phone.
Yeah, so Todd, first of all, let's go ahead and start, if you don't mind, because I think that's an excellent topic that I would love to jump more in. But at first, I want to also say thank you, Chucky D, for joining me on the Authentic Action Podcast. And let's just jump right back into that topic, if you don't mind, because I think that's fascinating to think about social media before what we're now calling social media, and how the Grateful Dead and or music at large has played a role in
music at large, of course, everybody played a role. But obviously, certain people played a bigger role than others. And then some people played the biggest role. Because, now you see people traveling, they go to football games. The University of Tennessee, those orange vans. I saw that one time. I went, look at this. These people get in these vans and they'll drive to see the band. It's the team. They'll go and see the college team all over the South, and thousands of them. Well, gee, I remember in the 90s, Budweiser took us, it was a big deal to go see a football game in Phoenix. I'm like, guys, we do this all the time. We've been doing it forever. But, people don't understand. They're not expected to understand. Again, it's like you could pay attention. You might want to pay attention. You might pick up on something. But everybody's different on how they learn or how they don't learn. And consequently, that's the way things are. Just day to day, you can see it. Mm-hmm. I see it all the time. I'm enjoying, in Albuquerque and seeing, in traffic and, the lights and looking and seeing everyone, in their cars and sampling the community, mm-hmm. Compared to, Hawaii is obviously a different thing. People are from everywhere, even us Hollies, we're locals. And, but, people there, they work hard, 3 jobs. Not everybody is, loaded. Not everybody works at the resorts in a high-end position. Not everybody sells a lot of real estate. Doctors, lawyers, that handle stuff. It's like every other community. Mm-hmm. But yeah, getting back to the way it is now and the way it was, we were on the phone and we knew what was happening with our people and our band, and then all the offshoots of the band, which was, who had the best weed or who was collecting the posters. Now, of course, having my own shows, it broadened, just the outlook or the perspective of, the Dead. It was a hobby. It was a learning experience for me. And that's how I learned how to put shows on here, not learn, but it's like, well, I see it. I see the vibe. And in my head, I'll just have the same vibe. If I have this vibe, then everybody's going to have the vibe. Well, that was easy in Santa Fe with Paolo Soleri with the reggae shows. And, people, they might have liked reggae or thought about it, but they weren't going yet. So we brought the first punk shows, we brought the first reggae shows, and then there were intermediate introductions of bands and shows by other people, of course.
So what would you have? I mean, was it all on the phone? Was it
well, yeah.
What,
everybody, it was all on the phone, and then you'd go meet at the show, and you would, people, whether it was the Dead Show or our shows in Santa Fe, there was definitely we would be advertising to the whole city of Albuquerque, but there were 3,000 people that went to see the big river shows, because they were Miles Davis or Weather Report or John Prine or B.B. King or any of that stuff. You name it, everybody can name it in their heads, as they hear it. So people, we had a click, and I would say, well, I could skywrite, and it wouldn't make any damn difference.
Right.
And I would have we towed banners. It was cheaper. I wanted to skywrite, the show, and we ended up pulling banners, of course, and then we would also use the Hollywood spotlight. We'd have spotlights. Mm-hmm. I did that at the El Rey. Had spotlights for 8 or 9 or whatever the people were there, and we had spotlights at Graham Central Station, maybe for James Brown or something. But yeah, we would do that. But people would talk about everything. It was just all talk, and then people being together at the events. Now, for me, I touched a lot of different people because I'm in motion. I'm at the radio station. I'm bringing the newspaper, the promo, the pictures, and I'm telling them about the show. Mm-hmm. And this is what we want to do, and this is what we're trying to do. I just today figured, I said, okay, I'm ready to write Mayor Tim. They said, well, because when I go up there with the Christmas record, we dropped off a bunch of records for the senior citizens, and I got the thank you letter, and I said, where's the mayor? I want to see him. He knows who I am. I want to see him. Well, here, go through this. And I said, okay, I will. And for a few weeks, I'm like, do I really want to, screw with this? But I think I will. And, and actually write and say, you remember how it was. You were there. You were a kid at all my shows.
Right.
So you saw all this go down, and where do you want Albuquerque to be? You're the mayor. I'm not sitting here for no reason, again. So we should put, do things. There should be a concentrated effort. And now with social media, you would think Albuquerque could pull from all over the country. It's a great place. The weather's perfect. The balloon field is perfect to have large-scale events and festivals and all sorts of things. And where's Virgin with the spaceport? Give us some dough.
No doubt, right?
And where's Microsoft and everybody? When I asked to reopen Paolo Soleri, the foundation, we both went to each other accidentally at the same time. We said, we should open. Yeah, we should. Well, it was in condemnation. There was so much dough to get it out. Mm-hmm. And then we went to, I'm not going to say who, but we went to people, and nobody would give us the money. I'm like, hey, thanks, guys. I said, you'd rather put the money in some horseshit than, what you think, than what this is. This is, if you go across America, again, when we went as kids traveling around to see the Dead, there were thousands and thousands of people. The freeways, you would park on the freeways. You can't do that now, but back in the 80s, we'd be parking on the freeway, and you'd walk the 2 or 3 miles to get to the venue. Even in Irvine, it was like that. And that's Southern California and Orange County. It was like that in the 80s, early 80s. So it's the networking. It's all about the networking. And I guess social media, sure, we use Facebook, Instagram for talk about the shows, promotions about the shows. I did a a listing. If you list with me, you get 2 tickets to Phil Lesh on New Year's Eve. And, sure. And the listing came down, but it's back up again right now, everyone. Coffee farm in Kona, Captain Cook. 2 houses, 8.5 acres.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that I was doing and still do in Hawaii. Back here now, and just networking, and it's like time to do the shows, and so it's been interesting, and to go back and see, how just the stream of everybody's thinking, and where Albuquerque or Santa Fe, where New Mexico is, it's pretty interesting.
Do you think we're missing, like you mentioned, the Palo Solari? Do you think we're missing venues to have good shows like that, or are there plenty with all the casinos? And I mean, there are a lot of venues. It seems.
Well, sure. Well, I guess there are enough venues.
But do you think is there something missing from? I mean, do you think what do you think it is that's keeping Albuquerque and Santa Fe from really blossoming into what it could be in that regard, with, like you said, our great weather and our
there's no economy
ample
here.
parking.
It's when we had shows, I remember in '80 I was on a panel that the city had. We had a panel where to put the building, the arena, and I said, guys, I get around to see this dead stuff. And it happens, a lot of these arenas are by airports and freeways. Okay? So here you are at Gibson and the freeway. Look, there's a little hotel on the corner that won't hurt anything. Build it there. And of course they didn't listen.
Right.
And they never did anything. But they had stupid ideas like the State Fair. Look at where this thing ended up in Rio Rancho. I haven't even been there. I've done shows here for 40 years. I haven't even been to the place. Well, I wasn't around.
Which one?
I don't know. It's out there in Rio Rancho somewhere.
I don't know either. I'm more interested in. I do want to build physical spaces, and so I'd love to hear your opinion more on what makes a good
State Fair.
space.
I asked them. I go, guys, wouldn't it be nice to have a nice outdoor arena, a little space here? Well, a couple of years ago when I got back on a visit from Hawaii, my assistant took me to Slightly Stupid at the State Fair in this really nice little pavilion. I'm like, this is great. So that's a great 4,000 seat spot. You go to the Sandia. It's a little too heavily policed.
Right.
So sorry guys, but it is. And but that's a nice spot.
It is. Yeah.
But I haven't been there personally because it's not what I like. Talking about what to build, yeah, it'd be great. To have a nice. Well, the city, they've got the balloon field. They should carve out just a little, nice area doesn't have to be the 20,000 seats, but this 3,000 to 4,000 would be really nice to have for certain events. But yeah, there's a lot of places. The El Rey sure looks nice. They're professionally outfitted. In the sunshine, professionally outfitted. It comes down to, and then of course Live Nation operating the shed, and you look at any other city's, summer schedule. Albuquerque can't support it. There isn't enough money. There isn't enough economy here. The teams, there's no teams. There's no football, no baseball, no pro teams. The college team, they don't seem to compete on a high enough level to attract revenue, attendance, traveling people to come here. And again, the place is great. I would travel from places, and I in fall, and I'd see people from Minnesota and North Dakota coming to Albuquerque because, the weather's fine. We can play golf in 50 degrees. This is great. And we're not spending Scottsdale money. So you have the mountains, you have the trails, you have the bike. This place is a mecca.
Yeah.
But it's not set up. It hasn't been managed right. The Maloofs failed it. Others have failed it. I didn't fail it. I built the roads that everything is at, and there's Live Nation out there doing what they do, and that's how it is, and they do it when they can, and it's not cheap to do this stuff on any level, and there's no economy in Albuquerque to support it.
Do you think? Do you think down where the spaceport was talking about being down by the El Paso, Las Cruces area has more promising in that regard, or not?
It's funny. The Sun Bowl was there, and historically, when you look at places, you have to see where the big bands played in any city. Well, you could look at Chicago, Denver, even Denver.
Yeah.
The Stones, the Dead, they've played there for 50 years.
Yeah.
And they've done huge crowds all the time. Tickets were $4. Now they're 400 to 4,000. Mm-hmm. So, that's another subject. But El Paso, we tried to do shows down there and it didn't work. We thought it was more primitive than Albuquerque at the time. Mm. So we said, we just better stay here with what we know. Now people fly everywhere, do shows anywhere. Everywhere. Mm-hmm. We're here in Hawaii, which is great. Being in Hawaii, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Now I've been there and, lived there. I'm Hawaiian. It's perfect. And I can do shows there, which is what we try and do every day. So isn't that special? Getting back again to the beginning, it's interesting that I tried to bring this stuff here. I tried to, have 94 Rock wouldn't play The Police and the Flock of Seagulls in September because it was Zeptember. So I had a lot of problems, with airplay and trying to break this stuff. And in the old days, we could go down to the radio at night. And we would, not all the time, but we were down there late night and with the DJs, just, sometimes talking, sometimes we were able to play stuff. And of course, in the early days with KFMG, those guys were very supportive. Trout and Jackson were very supportive until Clear Channel took over. Mm-hmm. That's where it's at. It's, you've got to be on the streets with the posters. You got to be in the stores. I worked with a band in Hawaii. They said, we want to do this benefit for the charter school. I said, okay. Well, just like any other show, but even more so, I went door to door because it was for the charity and the kids. And I said, you don't even have to go. Just buy a ticket. It's an Aloha ticket. You don't have to go. It's an Aloha ticket. And we sold 2 Aloha tickets. Instead of 70.
Right.
Both places are very similar, by the way. We won't get into that now. But they're very similar. You wouldn't think, well, how could that be?
You mean Hawaii and Albuquerque?
New Mexico, yeah, they are. They are. That's all I could keep saying. It all goes down to the beginning and just the word of mouth and people being interested, wanting to know. Back in the day, it was, the weed was underground, the psychedelics were underground. That played a big role, and don't let anybody ever kid you that it didn't. Mm-hmm. Even with bands that you wouldn't think had anything to do with that stuff, like, the bands that I can talk about through experience. But, it spread to everybody. It spread to all music in all cities and all places. And that's great. And that's healthy. That's good, clean American living. I say now is smoking weed, drinking beer, listening to the Dead and your favorite music, and go enjoy. This other hard stuff's like, what are you people thinking? Why would you even want to go there? There's no need to go to any of these places. when you had what we had, and we just did it our way, and we did it, and it involved all our friends, and everybody was healthy and happy, and people got married and had kids, and and it was all before social media, but it was our own social media.
Yeah, so something interesting came to mind about, sorry, pardon me, you talk about marijuana and LSD, and in a time, like right now, it's kind of out in the open so much more than it was. Do you think that secrecy in a way, or that underground, like there's a certain underground current that brought people together that maybe now is not as prominent? I don't know.
My answer to that is, it was, it was the way it was then, was wide open. It was, that's where we were.
Right.
We didn't hang around at rodeos.
Yeah.
You're not going to find it at the rodeo. You're not, so you're going to find it where you are.
Right.
And our network for Facebook and all that, the Dead Network, they had a little magazine. I try and tell all my groups that I work with, guys, there's things that you could do that these guys did way back when, that people would be like, oh, look, isn't that cool?
Right.
And it started when they said, Deadheads, who are you, where are you? Send your name to box 360, San Rafael, California.
Tell us where you are, yeah.
And all of a sudden, everybody got their stuff. You got your sticker, which a lot of people still have. You could pull it up on eBay. You got your sticker, you got this or that. Well, people could do the same thing. They could send out a postcard with the band or where they played, and then the schedule coming up, or I always, and nobody does it, I say, print your set list.
I was just talking to my band about printing our set list.
See, it's who do you listen to? And I might be a fairly good person to listen to at times. And it's funny because I just have fun doing it. It's like, well, why wouldn't you listen to this? What do you mean you're not going to print your set list? Then I had my guys in Hawaii who didn't appreciate, at the end, I said, do the reverse set list. Nobody knows who the hell you are. And then they can see, they're going to play Mustang Sally. They're going to show up to see Mustang Sally. Where if you didn't tell them that, and then they didn't even know, and if you didn't print the set list later anyway, they would have never known anyhow. This is all stuff we were doing way back when. And it's, I don't know, I guess we should have invented Facebook. It was funny because Bill Gates and his partner, at San Pedro and Central, right there by where the buses let everybody out for State Fair, there's a little yellow brick one-story spread of buildings, and that's where Bill Gates had his office. Now, my caterers were, the mailboxes there, so I had my mailbox there, caterers were right there, and I tell this story a lot because I wish it would have happened. Look at you two geeks. Who are you guys? Well, how about this? Why don't you two gorks come to my Judas Priest show tomorrow night over at the Tigley? And of course, the next thing from that would have been, Dad, I bet these two guys, they got this thing called Microsoft. Well, it didn't turn out that way, but they're there. Okay, they were there. SunWest Bank turned them down. They split. Now, I still hear that Gates says this is the original, this is where they're going to have the Microsoft Museum. He wants to come back here, and if you go by the place, there's a few people in it. It's basically empty. There's some tenants in it, and it's kept up. Well, it's because it's owned by Bill Gates.
Right.
So they were here. The movie stars were in Santa Fe. My plumber opened the door, and you got to go fix somebody's place in the Ridgecrest, and it was Christopher Plummer who answered the door because he had some time off. He felt like hanging around. From Albuquerque, you could drive to Santa Fe, and Albuquerque has a little more things that if you don't want to get fussy in Santa Fe, you could be more just a regular person here. I pulled out my to Chuck, George Strait. Well, I saw him at the golf course. They said, Chuck, that's George Strait. I said, hi, George, I'm Chuck D. I produce shows. I have a great show, and sign this scorecard for me. Well, I got that scorecard. I just saw it the other day. So people are here, and then it's like, oh, well, just keep it, It can't, Albuquerque, like anything else, it's going to succeed. It's going to be what everywhere else is, but not by any, no fulcrum is swinging, to do this. It's going to be by process of elimination. There's nowhere else to go. They're flying over, drop the baseball team in here. There isn't one, put it in there. That's how it's going to go. And, in Hawaii, I'm like, well, there should be a football team. They play once a week. They can fly. Everybody can fly around and just play once a week. And so how come Honolulu doesn't have a football team? How come Albuquerque doesn't have a pro basketball team, which to me is the thing that would support? Now it's obviously going to be the soccer guys. So when they're the people now pushing for the facility, and the problem with that is that there's already, the Live Nation facility with seats and all that. They're called sheds. And then the soccer field is going to be called what's called a ground up. And you're going to be able to drop, the 40,000 people in there, for the ground up for, the stones or whatnot. So that's what the city needs. I hope I can have a piece of the action as it moves forward again, because I was here in the very beginning.
Yeah. So who do we need to talk to?
Well, nobody. You just again. I'm just
gotta wait for the plane to drop. Huh?
I'm just going to do what I do.
Yeah.
I when I took the sabbatical before, when Eric McFadden was playing in Maui, I said, Eric, you should play over here. It's a big island. Well, next thing I knew, that's really what started it again. I had taken, some years off, going whatever, do the real estate and just get out. This is great. You live in Hawaii. And then when I started doing the shows, it was, let's do more shows. And so that's, that's just an evolution of everything. Mm-hmm. Wherever I'm supposed to be is where I'm supposed to be, is what one of my best friends has chimed to all our friends. Wherever he is where he's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So he's okay. So I'm okay. Yeah. But it was interesting to see the beginning and to watch all this for 50 years. I've been at it for 40 plus, and then, we were walking around watching it as kids, back when. I saw 1971 is when I first saw the slew of events that I saw. Who and Lee Michaels and the Allman Brothers with Dwayne Allman and the Dead, of course, and God knows who else we saw.
That's the year I was born, 71.
We saw Deep Purple with the Faces and Rod Stewart. What an event that was. And, there's something to be said to the way the events were then. And they're all memory. You can see some of them on film. We should have filmed a lot more of them. I had a friend that said, we got to film this stuff in Santa Fe. I said, well, where are we going to come up with the $500,000 so we can have to drop 25, 30, 40, 50K to every artist that we say, this is our rig. All the 18 cameras and all, we're filming because we're going to show this later on PBS.
Right.
We should have done that. A lot of stuff, that's why, again, it's all just a flow. So we'll just flow. Mm-hmm. But thinking of the visuals of these groups when we were kids and in college, and the visuals I remember them all sitting here. I can flash through any show I want, whether it's my event or whether it's, Rod Stewart on the stage in Chicago at the Auditorium Theater with his flashy pants and the microphone, and he's all tipped back and it's in full color. It was something. And that's what I think has driven a lot of people to really, again, this good, clean American living. We were living it then. We've always been living it, and we're living it now. Mm-hmm. So everybody get out and vote, and not for Trump.
Nice. Nice little wrap there. I like it. Hey, so I have a 3. If you had 3 golden tickets that would allow you to make 3 wishes with no limitations, no boundaries, just today, you might get 3 more tickets tomorrow, but today you get 3 wishes. One has to be for you personally.
I was going to say, what do you want to make them?
One has to be for the world at large. And one is kind of your choice, but I'd love to hear what you'd wish for the music industry as a whole.
Boy, it's a tough one. Wouldn't it be nice just that all the bills are paid and you can go where you want to go and do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And I don't need memberships at Baltus Roll and Augusta, to have that joy. I live now like I'm a millionaire, literally. So that would be nice but that's just a continuum, that's in your head. Mm-hmm. So, okay. And that's essentially, unconscious consciousness, that whether you have 500,000 in the bank or 500 in the bank, your head's in that spot. So that's the best, that would be, because since I've done it all my life, I should stay there. So that's what I wish for myself, really.
That state of mind.
Yeah, to stay where I'm at, because it's just that's where I've been, mm-hmm. And I didn't. And like a lot of the people that instruct and teach this stuff will say, they'll say to some people, "Well, you did this and you did that. How'd you know?" I don't know. I was a kid and I loved bees. So I got beehives. Well, that's the guy with clover honey. Right. So that's all this really is. Mm-hmm. So I want to stay there. I don't know. I'm upset with this homeless thing, the way I see it, everywhere. But it'd be nice to try and do something with the music and with the people that write and create indigenously from this area and then from Hawaii, where because obviously people go and know about both forms of entertainment. Everybody knows what a luau is. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what an Indian dance is, mm-hmm. Native American dance. So that'd be great. And that's what we touched upon at Palo Solari, when it's like, look at you guys. Hey, how about if I make you a bunch of money, okay? And you can get some stuff done around here. Well, sure, they had new uniforms and they had school buses. They really did. Mm-hmm. And we did that. And tickets were only $15. Imagine if, we were charging, and I wish I was charging, sorry gang, back then, $30 and $40 for tickets. Mm-hmm. Because that's what it was worth even then. I look at this, I went by a B.B. King poster, and it's, I don't want to be wrong. Did it say $12.50 or $17.50 or $15.50? And either way, I went, what was I thinking? But sure, the public and people, and who wants to pay $500 for a ticket now? That's ridiculous. But, then, sure, 30 and 40 might have been a way that we could have had the film crews and could have made it special. And now, when I see, where the Hawaii and the New Mexico connection, wouldn't it be, something to be able to, support something that can support the community mm-hmm. in some way?
Yeah.
And it could be, it could just be helping the soup kitchen with money, or it could be like, we're able to build this little complex, and people can be trained here, and then they can live over here. Whatever. Mm-hmm. That's not my department. But that's what I'd like to see there, and for that. As far as the music thing, I just wish that these bands that are starting out, that want to do what they want to do, would pick the right people to listen to and to model what they're, the steps that they need to do. It's all been done. And hey, great. Come up with something. To be signed, you have to be, Lady Gaga. You're not going to be signed whipping out some 12-bar blues. Billy Strings, for instance, there are people. Billy Strings is playing bluegrass. Well, he's killing it, and he's playing dead stuff, and he's crossing over to all sorts of music. So everybody in a genre can do it, but you've got to do it, in a special way. And then you've got to fall into the patterns of how the successful bands did it. Now there are some groups that didn't do it that way. Like an Elton John comes to mind. Well, he still did certain things. I mean, now, it's still Facebook, Instagram, and where he's going to appear, and his tickets are on Vivid, marked up, and so everybody's in the stream. But yeah, you want your shows recorded. You want to put them up on a platform so people can hear them. You want to be broadcasting them live when you play. Somebody will stumble in from another city. I love you guys. Let me buy your CD. I'm going home. And then they're at home and they're at a party and they're playing. Oh, look, the guys are on in Santa Fe and Albuquerque. I love these guys. Mm-hmm. And you're in some other city and you're playing it. Well, these are the things you have to do. There's so much going on. You have to, just be everywhere yourself. So you got to just be managing yourself accordingly. And that's what I would like to see, all the kids that, are coming up, and even my friends that, that I've been around forever. When we tried to, we tried to start the Grasshoppers. I said to number 1, 2, 3, and then there was 4 of our local favorites, the biggest names, and our favorite friends. I said, guys, why don't we just put this all together? I don't care if it's 4 guitars. You all have different bass players. This thing can always change. Different players, different who goes on first, who's on second, who's on third. It's perfect. And then the guy that really is the one that touring the country and tours Europe, the guy that gets around the most. When I told him, he goes, "Well, I want to be in this." I said, "You're in it, pal." Well, nobody could be together. Everybody's in different directions. And then a couple of people had lame excuses. It's like, guys, I don't want to hear this stuff. When we come up with a concept, put it in place and run with it. Take advice. Who do you listen to? Are you teachable? It's not the how, You got to do it. So these are the things that I just do now. And when I was younger, God, I don't know how we did it, but we should have been investing in more real estate. We should have been a lot smarter about everything, besides just creating this, cultural wonderland, that exists for people. There's a list of there was a Pretender show I had, and I guess it was the Rolling Stone. They thanked everybody, and it was my name was between Bill Graham and somebody else that was like huge. Right. And I'm like, well, isn't that nice? There I am, right there with these guys. Well, that's what we did, And here I tried here, and I did what I could. Well, and here it is now, what it is. And a lot of people here don't even know I exist. They wouldn't know who I was if you told them, or what I did, or and then there's other people where I'll be at Whole Foods and they go, "Aren't you Chuck D?" I go, "Yes, hi. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks a lot." And, "Well, sure, yeah. I'm glad. Wasn't it great? Yeah, I hope I can do it again." So that's. I mean, it's, and then you look at where does it go and what happens? Well, you just can never. You always have to have, your hand in it. I talk to a lot of people that aren't around anymore that had, an imprint here or there and here. And that's another interesting way to look at it. But that's a whole nother degree of teachings and what you can do. You can, well, to make it simple, you could sit down with George Washington and Thomas Jefferson right now. Mm-hmm. You know enough about them just from history books and stuff, and if you want to know more, you can read a bunch more and then bring them right into the conversation.
Right.
where they're with you and you're learning or you're trying to understand something and you're using their knowledge. Well, just because they're gone, they're not gone, they're sitting right here. Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you another guy who I've even, now that we go to the dead shows, and sometimes we don't even think about it, and sometimes we wonder, you don't know who's thinking about it, and then sometimes I'll walk away and go, boy, if that wasn't a night that they were playing for Jerry, they were all playing for Jerry. So that's something that I might know, have that feel for. Mm-hmm. So again, it's like what everybody has going for themselves and where you picked it up and who you're with and what you noticed, what you can remember, and what you do with it all. And then you bring that right into the present moment. See, so that's, I guess, where I'm going from where we started to now to the present moment. You've got to run with all this stuff, and you've got to be totally present, and you've got to make all this stuff work, and you can't fall back. But if you fall back, just pick it up and go. Mm-hmm. And hopefully people are, they're picking up that, yeah, you're picking up and you're going, or they're saying, can I help you? And everybody's just, together in community.
Yeah, it occurs to me that your smile is super important in the whole thing. You haven't mentioned that, but I think pick it up and go and smile. You do it with the great smile you got, and I bet that actually has a big effect on how things go for you.
Well, it does. Yeah. Well, when you're, even in real estate, I would be like, hey, I'm here to help. Mm-hmm. I don't get a check for months, or so it has nothing to do with it. I do what I do every day, and I build my confidence with it, and I know I'm good at it. I could be better at it, and the shows, it's different now as to with the learning curve, because I'm taking, it's very difficult to be in the present when everything you've done has been a 40-year run of all these events, and you've got files for it all, and you can look up all the data on it and mm-hmm. compare it to some other, or take the same band and say, well, this is what you did 25 years ago, Yeah. So there's all that to combat. Tomorrow when I go see Allman and Betts, I'm going to pull up a phone book and I'm going to call Dad. And I'm going to ask for him, whoever answers the phone, if maybe the numbers change. But I don't think it is, because it's his house. And he's a golf buddy of mine. Mm-hmm. And I played his shows. So I'm just going to call and say, I'm going to see your kid tonight. Just so I could say to the kid, I talked to your dad today. Holy shit, Chuck D. Who the heck are you? Right. How do you do this stuff? You do it, man. And I've got all sorts of golf stories with kids and pros, and how do you meet these people? How come you run into Tom Watson? How come you're friends with these guys? Well, because my friends were golfers, and we were together, and it's a flow. And so just because the end of the road was my friend's Tom Watson, well, that's fine. And it's not because he's a lot of. Well, I don't know Paul McCartney. Okay. I don't know some of the cream of the crop, but I know just people, who sell a lot of tickets and play a lot of music. And yeah, that's fine. That's great. So I'd like to have that continuation with the son saying, yeah, I played your dad here for years. And mm-hmm. Good to see you. Let's talk about, we're going to Hawaii, you guys, right? Yeah. That's how I see, that's step 4 of the 3 things, where, what's the what's the 5th step? Yeah, keep those other 3 going. Mm-hmm. See, so there's another step. Mm-hmm. So what you asked, the 3, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th is to, practice and everything and keep all those other things going. Mm-hmm. Then you're in the, then it's what could be the eternal flow. Yeah. Which is a whole nother conversation.
I'm with you there. Yeah. And I would, and let's, let me pause right here and say, I got one more wrap up question, but I want to have that conversation with you at another time, but I want to wrap up this conversation. And before I do, I want to acknowledge you and all your fantastic experiences, and thank you for sharing a little bit of that with me, because I know you have a vast treasure trove of stories and experiences, and I would love to hear more of them. But I thank you for sharing what you have.
Well, you're welcome.
So.
Mahalo for having me tell the stories where, again, my friends know all these stories. And they know the stories that I forget.
Sure.
They fill in stuff for me. Oh, don't you remember what you did? No, I don't remember that. Now I do.
Yeah.
So I have people that can fill in a lot of stuff. And it's fun when I had all the local musicians, pretty much, how do you get on one of these shows? Well, do you know Chuck? Get to know him, and then you could be on a show. Then yeah, you're going to be on a show, bro. Right. So we had a lot of guys, and girls from the area on our shows, and they remind me of things sometimes now about certain things.
Yeah, that's neat, huh?
Yeah, which is fun. Stories. And it's fun to see everybody, after the 40 years, I've been 40 plus years, 43, 44 now. Even with the break, I count, because I was still thinking, so even when I wasn't doing shows for 7 years, I didn't do a show for, well, I shouldn't say that, because I had the Leche de Tigre band in Hawaii with Mr. Brower when I discovered him and his little troupe. And I said, guys, if you guys listen and pay attention, when he hears this, he'll be laughing and he'll hate it. But if you guys pay attention, I can have you in these little theaters around here, and we can charge $25.
Right.
Well, Mr. Depth of Vision, sorry, bro, Mr. Depth of Vision, actually pulled that off. And that's what we did. That's what I did when I was, not doing shows in New Mexico because the Clear Channel and all that came in. And the casinos they didn't want anything to do with me. Those casinos, even though I was here for all these years, they didn't even know who I was. Even them. And for the events that we had. So it's like, I'm not going to even, again, it's the whole who you're with and who you're, some people you just can't be with, And we couldn't be with the casinos. I don't see myself now with the casinos because I don't like their M.O. And that constitutes a lot of things from A to Z. Sorry, but that's just, the way things are laid out, the way CEOs or CFOs look at things. And that's, I look at things from, of course, that perspective, because even though it's rock and roll in a parking lot, there's still a chief financial officer, executive officer, someone's, liability carrying. So those things are just what, again, it's part of the whole thought process, which keeps evolving, and you have to have that in that perpetual motion to hold up. It's like, a wave that turns back and, it's in, motion.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, so I have one last just kind of fun, silly question, which is, if you were a hat, what kind of hat would you be and why?
I don't wear hats.
I noticed that.
And when I do wear hats, they're a, hip kind of a golf, mostly deadish kind of just, camping style color hat. So, yeah, I would be probably my further cap. Yeah, nice. I would be my further cap.
A cozy.
It's got all the colors I like. It's got the ocean colors, and the little wave in there, I think, and it's got the New Mexico. Yeah, again, it's the similarity of both places, and I'm blessed to be able to live this life in both of these places. Even though I'm not in Hawaii now, it was quite the stretch, and all I have to do, it's like a Grateful Dead show. All I have to do is turn the switch.
Yeah.
That's all I have to do is turn the switch.
Nice.
I can be in Santa Fe with B.B. King. I could be with any of the performers, literally standing with them right now, just flashes. I mean, they just get flashed by. And I could stand with them right now. Same with, just about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want to learn how to do, folks. You want to be able to,
So you tapping into a greater source energy. How do you want to try to describe that a little bit more? I'm intrigued.
Well, I guess, it's sort of like being a great guitar player or a great golfer. You can practice. Well, if you don't have the gift, you're not shooting 63.
Right.
You're not John Mayer. Okay.
But do you think I think creativity is like a collaboration between this? Some people would call it God. I call it universe.
Yeah.
But like some greater than, like both. You have to bring yourself to the table, but then you also have to surrender to this greater energy on some level. And I think some people are better at it than others.
Well, that's why some people, but who wants to live that life of Miles Davis? Who wants to be Tiger Woods?
Right.
I mean, that's like, that's tough.
Yeah.
Jerry couldn't go out. Jerry didn't. See, we had Jerry. Jerry didn't have anybody. Jerry didn't have a Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
How tough. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about, and now you could say Jerry, Frank Sinatra, John Lennon, right, or a McCartney. I'm talking about, people at the very American, the spec. You see the world, and you got to think about 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
So for us musically, well, you think about these people, and their lives, they didn't have. We had them.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything now. You've got to want to trade to be, so where's the middle ground?
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of, I wish I had a little bit more of the middle, but otherwise that's okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay. So you can look at it that way, but no, you got to know what you're getting into. If you want that, you got to say, okay, I'm going to be a pole vaulter, and you're going to pole vault 8 hours a frickin' day. Wayne Newton today sings Dunkashane, every day at probably 2:30 or 3, whatever. He doesn't need to sing Dunkashane, but he does. Phil Mickelson doesn't need his circular putting drill, but that's how he made that 4.5-footer in Mexico at the World Championship last year, 48-year-old guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wait a minute, I could miss this. But no, again, you put yourself in these spaces, and it depends on what level you want to put yourself in, how deep you want to go. And then you go to the people that keep pushing you to go deeper, to learn, whether it's Ram Dass or Hank Haney, in golf, or learning at Berkeley music in Boston. You can go right in a door if you want to. A lot of people went on the street. I could have walked in a lot more of those doors. It might have been better for me. But, I can see the governor, and I can go down and see the guy at the barrio in the corner and have the same conversation. Like, what would I say to the mayor? What I'm going to say to the mayor is the same stuff that I say to pretty much everybody. Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Mayor, if you're in the position that, let's smooth it out. I don't want obstacles. Smooth it out. You could have had fish here. You could have fish here. You could have the dead here. You could have, this is the big stuff. And that's what the city needs. It does. And life is just better. A lot of people, well, we don't have to. Well, I know you don't, but that's your opinion. And my opinion is that you do. And if you look at, the rest, this is where people are having fun, and maybe their lives are better because of it. I would think they are. I know mine is.
Yeah, I'm an advocate of more fun too.
And I'm prejudiced musically. Most people know that, but that's okay. because it's still at the highest level. You can't, well, people, again, then you don't know. So then you're criticizing something you don't know about. See, I stay on certain things and I stay away from, other things. And that's one thing that's like,
stay in your lane or where you're familiar, huh?
criticizing something you don't know about.
Yeah. So I'll probably press pause and edit at some point in the near recent past or near future. But I'm interested in just kind of asking you a little more, since we've kind of dipped into the topic of local, and because I'm interested in building these big Unity Play centers. And my initial vision was to try to pair up with the Space Center and do something down there, and then something up in the Denver area. And right now, I really feel like I want to make a push in this next year to start the first one, and I'm still not sure whether it should be local, because this is where I am and this is where I know, and like you just mentioned, there's great weather and a lot of room, or near Santa Fe with the Meow Wolf Pool, or up in Denver, or down south. But what if you were going to build a new enclosed outdoor space, really fun, unique, dragon-shaped landmark amphitheater, where would you put that?
I would put it, in the area. I'd put it in Bernalillo. I'd put it north.
Like by the balloon park or something.
Yeah.
Like there.
I mean, that's where it belongs.
Yeah.
It belongs in that whole river strip, and it goes on forever.
Right.
And then the tribes, So, that's where what should happen. But what you got to do is you've got to have a prospectus formed, and you've got to say, okay, this is what I want to do. But to do this, I need lawyers, accountants. I need this. I need like 8 people.
Yeah.
Okay, well, 8 times 6 is 480. So I need $500,000. So I need now a grant writer, and that's going to take 6%. And so I need a grant writer, and I need then the format. Again, the format's, somebody's already written this grant, because this is what a performing arts space looks like in Maui or in Florida, where Bob Weir plays. There's a little circuit. These 1,000-seaters.
Right.
So, I mean, I would, we're trying. The burn Zozobra. So if you're looking at Zozobra, there he is burning. Everybody's down. Hey, all right. Now, if you look to the left, where those pictures are, there's an outdoor red amphitheater sitting up there that holds 1,000 people. It's falling apart completely.
Right.
Well, I'm not a frickin' octopus, but part of the thing is, I've already got Lenny. Who do I talk to? Thanks. Got the thanks. I'll let you know when I get to it. I'm bringing in a grant, be over $1 million. I'm going to fix this place. I'm going to start doing shows.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody fucking with it. Unless I say it's okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, my idea is to have something paired with like tacos and coffee, something that sustains it when it's not to have shows, but also to sustain it.
Well,
in way, like I love what Meow Wolf is doing, where they're having shows and the, like the museum. I'd like to do something a little different, but
yeah, that is the whole thing there is thrown up against the wall, and some parts stick better than others,
right?
And some parts need more managerial talent than others, and whatever, great. Top Golf in Las Vegas. There's 3 decks. You're hitting balls, and then you turn around, and it's a proscenium amphitheater.
Nice.
Period.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And is it sustained? Is it?
Well, it's in Las Vegas.
Right. But still, a lot of things are in Las Vegas and dying.
Well, that's because there's too much in Las Vegas.
Right.
Danny said, no, these shows, they did horrible. And Parsons is going to do it. He goes up, there's too much going on. You drop Bob Weir in Vegas, well, we're going to go. He only did 50,000 3 days in a row for 7 years, So, of course, he's going to draw I got a friend now, a golf buddy's going to see Chicago at the Venetian this weekend. Again, this is all created from the dead. It's all back to the dead. Vegas is not Vegas like people think it's Vegas. Vegas is a riot. It's a blast. It's all young people. And sure, it's got Mr. and Mrs. Corn walking down the street and hanging out. But then you go into, what's the place? What is it? With the A? There's some places in there, that are cool. And there's cool shit going on. And you want to be there. A lot of people wouldn't think that, but you do. Building a place like that, well, you got to have something that, like you say, what supports it? I don't know. You don't have a driving range attached to it, that's open 24 hours, a day or whatever it is. 2 swimming pools at the driving range.
Indoor skiing?
2 swimming pools.
Yeah.
Okay. At the driving range.
Right.
This one here is just a little puppet version.
Yeah.
And no one's going to go pay $40 an hour to hit balls.
Right.
When you can go to Los Altos. Again, it's the way the market just never got to, Denver, Phoenix, because, the big bands didn't play in these markets. The Dead never played in Albuquerque. Okay? So Albuquerque never had the rest of the trail that the Dead money brings for the promoters can then bring in all the other music, because twice a year the Dead come in and they make a lot of money. And then, sure, what's the name? Blondie? Yeah, when? Yeah, I play the Police. What did I pay him? $1,000 or something silly?
Really?
Yeah, this is, so, that's how it was.
Right.
And I didn't have the Dead. And I had shit sales all the time. If I had the Dead, there wouldn't have been shit. And again, I told these guys, 94 Rock, no, they had to stick with this metal shit. With all this crap. Blacks. He bit the bat. It's like, guys, this is not going to help the city. You're going to turn these kids into idiots. Okay? And then what happens? They make a show called Breaking Bad about fucking the kid.
Right.
What's his name? The kid. Jesse. Fucking Jesse.
Classic
Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, Beavis and Butthead. I hang around with Chris and Adam. Chris Brennan, his father's Judge Brennan. Chris went to Notre Dame. Adam, his buddy, plays bass, runs businesses. The 2 of them together, I'm like, they're fucking Beavis and Butthead. Unbelievable. Why? Because I said so. That is like what's his face in Breaking, what's his name? Well, how do you know? Because I said so. I done it. I figured. I put it all together. Who else is going to say so? That guy? No, I know. I'm going to say so. So it's a lot of it. That's tough. When you're the guy that has to say so. Now if I had millions of dollars, well, look at him. He's got millions of dollars. Let him say what he wants. But at the same time, for the bands and the kids, guys, I did all this. I've got the wealth. I am the treasure chest. Okay? Just because I don't have 3 houses, but I do have a convertible BMW from Hawaii, which is my little treasure. So it is what it is, and everybody has what makes what they want and what it is, and so it's locally here. You've got to have the right people mentoring you. You've got to be listening to the right stuff. And the right stuff goes from Roxy Music to the Grateful Dead. But listening, to Danzig and Slayer, what are you going to be, the Cottonmouth Kings? It just doesn't make, it's not where, all of a sudden you're going to be known for Sweet Baby James. Wouldn't that be nice? Or Neil Young, Rust to Gold, Gold to Gold, there's certain things that fit. And so try and fit. And if you don't fit, be Lady Gaga.
I was just saying, you can't all fit.
I understand.
So you need the contrast, right? And even the not so great parts.
But
of the
those are your
contrast
crime breakers and your drug users and the causes of death for the father because the kid is an asshole and robs everything. And now, oh my God! Well, that's what we don't want behind every. You don't know what's behind all these doors in all these neighborhoods, these tragedies.
I do. I've lived here a long time,
Right.
and I mean, I have an idea. And every 5 years or so, one of them smashes my car out front.
So tragedy, and
and
there's, I don't see this tragedy in the Grateful Dead fish string cheese world. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
We don't have it. Now, my prejudice, am I biased? Yes, I admit to that, but it's only because I, was groomed, where it felt good. It wasn't like, ah! It was like, oh, do it again.
Right. Yeah.
Do that again.
Good vibe.
Do that again. And then all of a sudden when the notes go ching with space in between them, ching, 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 that's how he plays. Doesn't go, where does that get you? Miles didn't go. When he went, that was, he did that. That was like Eric Clapton doing the same thing. But Miles, it was note, space, note. This is where it's really at. Now I understand that's not everybody's cup of tea, and but other people's cup of tea is the stuff on The Voice. My buddy was watching The Voice the other night, and my friend's brother was on it, Ron Artis. Ron Artis Sr. plays with Stevie Wonder, famous world keyboard player. Mm-hmm. Ron Artis Jr., my pal in Honolulu, tours all America. You look him up. Ron, he's killer. He's great. He's like our buddies times 4. Okay? And our buddies are, in Hawaii, I'm like, you guys, you should see my buddies. You guys don't even come close to, and I don't want to say who they are. I don't want to prejudice anybody. Right. But, some of us know who I'm talking about. So it's what you're listening to and how it's shaped, and some people had the benefit and the gift and all this combined and the mentors where, it's like making a chocolate cake. How's that cake turn out? Turn out like shit. Chocolate cake. Who told? Well, I did it myself. What the hell did you do that for? Why didn't you have someone come in and tell you what to do? Show you, don't use that white sugar. Use the Grateful Dead brown sugar. Hello? See, there's, and I'm prejudiced, again, but I also know what I'm talking about. What was it? One of my friends said to a famous entrepreneur, he said to the famous entrepreneur, said to my friend, you're just not just a smart ass, you're pretty smart too. So I've patterned that line, and only one friend will know what I'm talking about. No, there's a circle of about my 10 best friends that know who I'm talking about there. And that's something that we share, mm-hmm. And that's like the secret societies. You're not going to go to the Frontier restaurant and hear people talking about, certain things like, saying like that, mm-hmm. That happens to fit life.
Right.
And then therefore, people should pay attention to that and listen to who said it, or, gee, well, how did it work out for you? Oh, pretty good. Well, and so you pick up on those things. Mm-hmm. How'd that black T-shirt work out for Jerry Garcia? Pretty good. How did that let everybody tape the shows? Let everybody tape the show. That's the most ridiculous thing. How do you make any money doing that? Oh, really? Or O'Reilly? Mm-hmm. Come on. The answer, if you don't know the answer, I'm not even going to tell you at this point. Yeah. How much of this, this is, gold.
It is. Yeah. Yes, I'm still trying to get at where we started at the very beginning with you talking about that very thing. So I think recording the shows, there's something vibrationally relevant about what was going on with the Grateful Dead and what you started off talking about, social media being already existing, that I think is being discounted right now, that is really more relevant than
for sure. You know, and I think that the only, when you look at it, like I say, now you look at it in the media, and certain people, yeah, I watch Anderson Cooper. You know, I believe that guy who went down to Haiti and the volcanoes and, you know, risked his life to report. You know, well, sure, it's a big conglomerate, but that guy still did it. Mm-hmm. You know, Sean Hannity, on the other hand, you know, that's stupidity. That's, you know, and if you're on that page, I can't help you. You know? Who's running this Claire woman running? You know, she walks out her ad, she's got a gun. And then I saw her on, you know, the KOB had a little clip. They were talking about people. I saw her in person. Well, she's the same, you know. Yeah, you know, I'm sticking with Trump. Well, I can't help you then. You people are way off. Oh, I like his policies. Like the one with the kids in the cages. Oh, that's Obama's fault. I can't help you. You know, we can't help those people. So we're not gonna. You know, I don't hang out with them. I had to clip a few of them off at the golf course. We laugh at them more than anything. What are they gonna do? You know, we've run the golf course. So if you push me around out there, you see I remember last year we saw some guy walking down. He had the hat on, and I didn't have to, but I did. I went, "Oh my God!" You know, just to be obstinate. Because sometimes I don't know. I think it's fun. So, or we're out in the car getting ready to go, and the guy with the Trump sticker walks to his car, and then Tony and I start talking about something stupid that the guy did, you know, and the guy getting in his car, it's like, oh, what am I supposed to do now? Get in your car and get out of here, because I can't help you. But, you know, and then, you know, even my golf buddy's like, gosh, you're going to the Dead again? You know, bro, I've known you for 40 years. You know, but this is how their lives were. They weren't running around like we were, loose, without any boundaries. Okay? I have been completely unrestrained.
It's kind of nice, huh?
Yeah, we were restrained when we got caught with the weed. We were in jail overnight. You know, they let us out. Oh, we're gone. Well, enough of that. We're never going back there. Well, no, we're not. We're just not. You know, so we haven't been back there. And otherwise, you know, the 9 to 5, you know, puts the pensions and all that. And then a lot of people, you know, in the record and the music industry, well, their pensions are okay. They didn't do 95, but they still were up till 2 in the morning, and then, you know, still had to be in the office and running the operation. And, you know, I know a lot of my friends that they're not in the same physical condition that I'm in. Not even close. Mm-hmm. They can't walk or do this, you know. I'm thinking in the next few days, I need to run. And I'm going to run fast. Now, you're not going to find one out of 50 people my age can run real fast. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of them.
Yeah, thanks.
It's because of the way I've gone through everything. If you're sitting, imagine getting up at 5:30 every morning, traffic. I mean, just this winter here. I said, wait a second, hold it. Did I? No, I didn't. I'm going to tell myself I didn't age in these last 5 months here in winter. I didn't age. Nope. I didn't. And so now I'm going to go out, you know, because I'm hitting balls, and I'm like, okay, you need to go out and run. You need to go out and just build yourself right back up to 52 again, 45, you know, bang. And I plan to in the next few days. And then, you know, I'll be out there and, you know, it's like, I look like myself again. You know, I'm gonna wear I can't stand this. I can't stand this.
What? What is it?
Clothes.
Oh.
Shoes.
Oh, like long pants
and
shoes.
This is killing me. I had shorts today. I was in my slippers. I don't mind a little thing over the top,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't be restrained in all this stuff. My feet are restrained. My legs. I don't like it, and I got spoiled because, you wake up and you put your board shorts on and which Grateful Dead shirt should I wear today so everyone in the community can see? Look at this. Here he is. You look at that shirt he's wearing today, or or whatever. And it's like, here we are, and that's how Hawaii is and was and is.
Mm-hmm.
This week is David Nelson week. All my friends right now. I think we're off tonight, but last night everybody was going crazy, in Maui, and all my peeps are there, and I can be right there with them. And I know, a lot of them are saying, this is a bummer. Chuck's not here, and and then here Chuck puts all this together, and the wind blows this way or this goes that way, and then the Nelson folks said, well, no, we're going to let these people do it because they want to pay for everything, and you're not going to do that. No, I'm not. And so the whole thing is just run rampant. And I know it, and I'm getting the reports, and I hear it, and I know what's going on, and I'm there in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But here I am here, and I'm doing what I have to do now. 3-4 things at once. So, yeah.
Yeah. You want to tell us what's next? You want to wrap it up?
No. What's next is, we don't know what's next. We know what's next.
Next is whatever is the perfect thing, right?
Yeah. I got another idea today on something to do local, for the area that shouldn't cost a fortune, but something that I think we can handle. And then it all depends on who's in. I better not hear from these breweries. Oh well, guys, don't fuck it up. Well, they worked in Illinois, okay. Let alone you just look in Colorado what the connections between the dispensary, the brewery, and the rock show. Okay, I'm going to hand this to you on a platter. Don't fuck it up. Well, we think, I don't think. You guys don't know. So that's what's coming up.
Yeah.
Circling everybody in and going, okay, this is what's going to happen now.
That wraps up my conversation with Chucky D. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you want to contact Chuck, you can find him on Facebook under Chuck Deleonardis Presents or eXp Realty. If you would like to contact me or find out more about the Authentic Action School, please look me up on Facebook or at angellily.com. You can also sign up for our newsletter at theauthenticacschool.com or again on Facebook. Thank you for listening today. I appreciate your time and attention, and I welcome your questions, comments, and suggestions. As always, I hope you're taking at least one small step toward living the life of your dreams today. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, I hope you won't hesitate to ask. Ciao for now.